Intelligence agencies are puzzled. There are too many mysteries. From the beginning, it never really was the little coup that could. The plotters did everything wrong. First, they never shut down radio and television, and they never switched off the telephones. Second, they failed to arrest Boris Yeltsin, who rallied the Russian people and, with his telephone calls, rallied world leaders. Finally, they apparently were not ruthless enough in the early hours to use these special troops to take control of key buildings and kill resistors. The less obvious facts are now being analyzed by U.S. intelligence. Why was the change of government announcement made before troops moved into place? Why were only a half a dozen divisions alerted from an armed force of 4.5 million men? Pentagon sources say even after the coup began, most senior military leaders showed no enthusiasm for the overthrow. Only the defense minister and his Moscow staff were giving orders. There are a few theories. Respected Kremlin watcher and novelist Tom Clancy said the plotters were just stupid.
Frankly, it looks like a second-rate attempt in a country like Paraguay.
Perhaps, but analysts say it is possible the plotters actually believe the Soviet people would embrace the ousting of Gorbachev, embrace a return to hardline central government. Another possibility, a wild one, was given life by former Foreign Minister Edward Shevardnadze, who said, "I hope Gorbachev is the victim in this and not the instigator." Did Gorbachev want to smoke out those in the military he could not trust? One U.S. official said, "It's an interesting theory. The president didn't think so."
To suggest that this President Gorbachev would plot to put the people of the Soviet Union through this kind of trauma and the rest of the world through it just makes absolutely no sense at all.
This White House. For the people who held vigil here, it might have become the Alamo. Finally, after 60 hours of waiting and fearing, the crowd at the Russian Parliament building had something to cheer about. The coup leaders had fled. The tanks were pulling out. Where there was joy, it was spontaneous. Where there was food, it never tasted better.
Words can't express how good we feel. It's wonderful. No one expected such a turn of events.
No one expected to win against a force that had always won, the state. But for most of these people, it is a time of relief, but not of celebration. The coup may be over, but there are battles ahead and many threats.
It's not over. All the hardliners haven't fled. In the great ocean, there are still some fish swimming that don't swim at the surface.
Fish like the KGB, Black Beret infiltrators. Even tonight, there could be a counterattack. So while the buses that had blocked tanks were being cleared, human defenses were drawn tight. The hero, Boris Yeltsin, still holed up inside. The barricades were not coming down yet. The tanks have left. The soldiers have
We
left
don't
also.
believe it.
You don't believe it?
We don't believe it. That's why we're here.
So you don't trust the information you're hearing?
We don't trust this information.
But trust, like the newspapers which had been banned, was returning. So was pride. The pride of combat, of being able to look the world in the eye.
The coup leaders thought we were stupid, that we'd swallow it all up, that everything would come off easy. It didn't happen that way.
And a few here even dare to believe that it will never happen again. The flag of the new revolution, the tricolor of Tsarist Russia. The crowd moved through Red Square, mocking one symbol, Lenin's tomb, then another square and another symbol, Lubyanka, the headquarters and prison of the KGB. One official suggested this day be declared Russian Independence Day, but no one needed an excuse to celebrate.
We are very happy to be Russian. Today we are Russian, that's all.
And it wasn't Gorbachev in these Russians' hearts.
If there weren't Yeltsin, we wouldn't have a leader we'd listen to.
As the noose went around the neck of Felix Dzerzhinsky, founder of the KGB, officers inside could only watch in disbelief. Outside, people were beginning to believe in a new emotion, joy.
I think this day give us a new future.
As cranes were brought in to topple the statue of oppression, some reflected on what the new revolution would bring.
A new life, to feel the freedom.
For others, the joy of the moment was enough.
Deal had caused Raisa Gorbachev to have a bad spell yesterday, Gorbachev said, but he hoped it was temporary. Gorbachev thanked all those who'd saved democracy here and his life.
I recognize the role played by the Russian people and by their president, Boris Yeltsin.
Yeltsin, the hero of the resistance, drew a standing ovation at the Russian parliament and, to applause with every name, announced the fates of the coup leaders. Acting President Yanayev, arrested. Defense Minister Yazov, arrested. KGB Chief Khrushchev, arrested. Prime Minister Pavlov, hospitalized and under guard. Interior Minister Pugo, a reported suicide. Others arrested or soon to be. Later, Yeltsin thanked the people who had defended him and Russia's parliament. Russia, he said, had saved the Union. Gorbachev also got a standing ovation today at a news conference where he described how his own chief of staff had led his captors to him.
I said you are adventurers. You will ruin yourselves, goddamn you. You will ruin the country too.
Gorbachev did not give details, but he charged his captors had tried to break him psychologically. Gorbachev was asked many times why he had appointed the kind of men who would attempt a coup. I trusted them, he said, especially Defense Minister Yazov and former KGB Chief Khrushchev.
Now, the other leaders of the most powerful republics will not be in a mood to compromise, and a key to that meeting will be the Baltics, with their long history of differences with Moscow. Today, Estonia officially outlawed the Communist Party. NBC's Dennis Murphy managed to get to Tallinn.
The Estonian parliament went on the hunt today. Prime Minister Edgar Savisaar called out the names of the alleged collaborators, the Estonians who helped the Soviet hardliners in the bungled coup. The port manager fired. Managers of the Russian factories rooted out. Some police names, some radio broadcasters, now facing prosecution and dismissal.
It's obvious who is who. And it's also important for us here in Estonia because some part of our political forces have played very dirty games until now.
It almost went unnoticed that Estonia had declared its independence from the